Hi, this is Phil, and I'm here to tell you all about the Capes and Lunatics Patreon. Get early access to all of our interviews, including the monthly Chichester chats with writer and comic book legend DG Chichester, new episodes of classic Capes and Lunatics shows, including The Quantum Zone, This, That, or the Third, and many, many more specials, all completely uncensored. Access starts for $3 a month, full video when you pledge $5 a month. Check out the link in our show notes or go to patreon.com/capesandlunatics. Hope to see you there.
This is Comics Illustrator Ron Friends, and you're listening to the Capes and Lunatics podcast.
Hello, super friends, and welcome back to the second episode of Electric Mullet, the Superman podcast of all about your 80s, your 90s, and one day beyond Superman comics. I have Phil joining me. All right, let's do a different order this time. All right. Superman's number one fan himself, Mr. Tyler, the Krypton Report's own Mr. Tyler Patrick.
Hey, what's up?
And the big man of podcasting himself, Justin the Owl. Keeping Into the Night theme Moon Night podcast alive.
filling in for a little bit.
Yes. You know what? That Moon Knight 25 came out the other week. I'm like, should I contact Ray and see if he needs somebody to fill in since the birth of his second child. And I was like, I'm so busy, and I'm sure one of the loonies will fill in. And of course, I see the thing. I see it today. I'm like, oh yes, Justin and a bunch of others.
And then Russell and Mario. Yeah, we had a great chat.
Nice.
That was a fun time.
Wild like an animal. Always all right. So yes, this time we are back. Superman's going to jump into the present of 1987 as we cover. I think. I was trying to figure out the order. Probably doesn't matter order, although Superman 1 needs to come before Action Comics. But I don't know.
Yeah.
That Adventures could probably fill in anywhere.
Yeah. It's tough because this was before the triangle numbers. So it's
I know.
It's kind of tough to figure out what comes where, unless you look at the publication dates, and sometimes that isn't even accurate.
I mean, eventually they even give you like next issue boxes in the column. They're like, next week and or whatever. But right now, because again, kids, we're gonna be talking Superman number 1, Adventures of Superman 424, and Action Comics 584.
Yes, this was back when DC was expanding to 3 Superman titles a month.
Ooh. Which I found it funny because they they did a new Superman number 1, and then the old Superman book became Adventures of Superman.
Yes.
Which I figure they probably were afraid of continuing the numbering on Superman and putting out an Adventures of Superman number 1, because people probably be like, what is this? Is this another miniseries? What is this?
What's going on here?
Yeah, so.
Yeah.
So for the first time. What?
These were fun books to read because I read them I read Adventure, Action, then number 1.
Okay.
Because I was trying to figure out which number 1, because at first when I searched number 1, it didn't bring up the one we were doing at first. And that's why I was like, wait, this isn't it. I sent a thing to Phil, like, is it this one? He's like, no, this one. I'm like, okay. So then I found it. I was like, all right, now this makes sense now.
Yeah.
I was like, come on, you need to be smarter than this.
Yeah, sometimes you got to dig for some of them, instead of bringing up like in a monthly series, it'll throw you a bunch of like mini series or something. Like, come on.
Yeah, it's a bit of a treasure hunt sometimes to try to find the right one, but eventually we get there. Yeah.
I'm thinking maybe we should cover these in the order I read them. Superman number 1, Adventures 424, and then Action Comics. Break up the burn.
That's true.
Yeah, I agree with you. Because the Action Comics is cool, but like it is kind of.
It's different.
Feel like it really. Yeah, it doesn't hit. There's no similar beats than what we covered in the other books. So
right.
And I think it was Action that there was like Lexus at the end, and it kind of continues into Superman 2, which we'll cover. cover next episode. So
Yeah, there's some continuity there. Yeah.
yes, a little bit.
Yeah.
All right. I know what I wanted to mention. Today, the new comics, they put out the first issue. It's another big oversized Black Label book. Tyler, I don't know if you got it or if you're gonna get it. Superman: The Last Days of Lex Luthor, #1.
Mm.
Yeah, I'm gonna get it because I like the oversized books. I like those formats. I just got to get to the shop to pick it up. But
Yeah.
isn't Wade writing that?
Mark Wade writing, Brian
So,
Hitch
he's just- he's on-
penciling again. Yeah,
Oh, nice.
yeah,
Excellent.
Yeah,
but
that's
yeah,
one
of
of those
course.
that we're gonna cover, but we're gonna cover when it's all been put out
Mhm.
because those oversized books, I don't like to try to do them, because it's like a 3-parter. So I don't like to try to do them one at a time. I like to wait till all 3 parts are out.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah.
But yeah, it's interesting, Justin.
We tried to do
it
it like when they were coming out once a month, and the last book got pushed out. So then it's like,
Oh,
by the
yeah.
time you get back around to it, you're like,
Right.
so
that's where-
now anytime there's these mini series runs, we just wait till one and then cover them.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah. But yeah, it's basically Lex Luthor's like rampaging in a big giant super suit, and then Superman shows up and he's like, "Oh, I wanted to get your attention. I'm dying," and Superman saves everyone, so he's like, "I can't figure out what's killing me. You have to help me."
Interesting.
Yeah, so Lex coming to Superman for. Shut up, Russell. Kryptonite O-ring. Shut up, Russell. Boy, that joke was a horrors, man.
That Frank Miller month is the gift that keeps on giving.
Oh, I know. Well, of course. Well, yes, it keeps on giving. Frank Miller. All right. All right. So should we jump into these issues?
Yes. Yeah. A
All right,
lovely trio of issues we have.
Like I said, we can start with Superman #1, which all these covers are good, but I found this issue 1's cover kind of weird, considering it's a #1. I thought he'd be standing all big on the cover, like the Adventures of Superman issue, but it's like no, he's like down on the ground and
yeah. I know. What a surprise!
This feels like
right?
in today's comics, this would be like issue 2's cover. Because, like you said, issue 1's always like the prominent hero, and then issue 2 of any like arc is more of like the peril for the hero. So
yeah, the immediate threat. Yeah.
So this is like, hey, Superman, issue 1. Oh crap, he's already on the ground.
Oh man, somebody already stomped him into the ground already.
If this were modern comics, this whole first issue would be him and Lois jogging in the park. And then, he runs into Metallo at the end of the issue, and that's when you get the peril in the second issue. And they would drag it out. They would drag it out, and who would be written by? Bendis.
It would be at least 3 issues. Like this one issue would be at least 3 issues.
Totally.
And I will say that there are parts in this, and we'll talk about it, that I'm like, okay, you could have like spaced this out a little bit more and gave me some more instead of just like these big like event chunks.
Yeah. Like we dealt with in the miniseries, all those time jumps.
Time to crack open another just good old sparkling water.
Nice. The innocent little hellfire. All right, cool. All right, Superman Volume 2, #1 from January 1987. Heart of Stone. Writer and penciler John Byrne, inker Terry Austin, colorist Tom Zayuko, letterer John Costanza. Can't stand you. Editor Andrew Helfer. 3 months ago, Superman learned that he was an alien from the planet known as Krypton. His foster father, Jonathan Kent, had hidden Superman's birth matrix rocket ship in a secret area of the farm, but it has since been stolen. Superman has been searching for the ship ever since. His trail leads him to a laboratory complex where he finds the body of a dead scientist. Inside the complex are comprehensive computer schematics of Superman. Although Superman doesn't yet realize it, this lab is where the cyborg Metallo was created. Metallo's body had been ruined in a car accident, and the scientist transplanted his brain into a powerful robot body powered by an element he calls kryptonite. Superman picks up the entire lab and flings it into a safe orbit in outer space, never to be seen again, or for a few years here. Later, he joins with Lois Lane in his secret identity as Clark Kent. The two go jogging together until Lois hears a disturbance coming from a nearby bank. Investigating the incident, they find that a large white-haired man calling himself Metallo is wreaking havoc. Clark dashes off to change into Superman and faces Metallo. Dash off, get thrown across the bank. Yeah, however we want to put it. Yeah. Metallo over Clark dashes off, gets thrown. Change into Superman and faces Metallo. Metallo overpowers Superman and nearly kills him thanks to the kryptonite heart in his chest. Miles away, Lex Luthor is monitoring the event and notices that Metallo may actually succeed in killing Superman, a feat reserved only for Lex Luthor. Luthor sends out a hovercraft which abducts Metallo just as he is ready to finish off Superman. All right.
Hey, Phil, real quick, can you read that first line that you typed again for me?
Oh.
Your description.
3 months ago, Superman learned.
That.
3 months ago. Okay, so it's been 3 months since Man of Steel number 6. Is that what you're saying?
Another
is
time.
It number 6, or is it because? And this is what threw me, because he finds out he's an alien and adopted like in the first issue of Man of Steel, and then the last issue of Man of Steel is like 10 years later.
Kind of, but you know what I think it is. He learned he came from a spaceship in issue 1.
Oh, but he learned he was an alien.
At that point, they're like, oh, was it the Russians or whatever? I think it was.
Yeah.
I think they're saying officially in issue 6, he sees the hologram of Jor-El, and it was just like, okay, there's no doubt I am from another planet.
Okay. Yeah. All right. Because that kind of confused me, because there's a couple points in here where Man of Steel is referenced, especially like, like in the first pages of this, when we see him in the science, he's like, where is it? Where is he talking about? It's still hard to believe Ma and Pa are not my real parents, and I'm actually an alien. Like, so it's just like he found out Ma and Pa, like, that was 10 years ago, man. Like, still wrestling with that. You know what I'm saying? It just feels, I don't know. I don't like time jumps when I don't feel like it really works like that. So.
Yeah.
Anyways, continue.
I know there's a lot of time jumping, but yeah, now that we're on the monthly books, I think we kind of put, that we kind of calmed down on that.
Yeah, that I think until he goes to space, which isn't for another year or two, I don't think we have to worry about any weird time jumps and continuity stuff.
That's good.
Yeah. All right, I'm just reading some of the notes here. Oh man, that's right. Ads. One of the ads in this for the laser tag home game system. Yes,
nice. Yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
Is there a phone number? That's the thing I love most about reading old comics individual issues is the ads.
Yes,
the ads.
I wish
he
put those on the app. Yeah,
me too. Yeah, they're so funny.
Oh my god,
video game ads. Yeah,
there was
Game
one.
Genie.
Oh yes.
Yeah.
All the video game stuff you could. They anytime you saw any Nintendo or Sega stuff. Oh, if you go back, there's so many. I forget what book it was on. It might have been like a Marvel book, but it was like an ad for tennis shoes from like, it was the late 70s or early 80s, and the spokesman was O.J. Simpson.
Oh yes, yeah.
And again, that just in hindsight, that's like, oh, that's weird.
So it wasn't for gloves.
Oh, nice.
Did anybody watch the Arnold Schwarzenegger documentary that he did on Netflix recently?
No.
There's a part where he's talking about they're casting for Terminator, and they were looking at casting or had casted originally O.J. Simpson to be the Terminator. They're like, he just doesn't look like a killer. Like, you just can't help but be like,
I proved him wrong.
I love it.
it was so funny.
That's
We were sitting there
fantastic.
watching it, like, yeah, exactly.
Okay, yeah,
I
sure.
don't see it. Oh, juice. No, man.
Oh man,
Oh my lord! All
that's
right,
good.
all right. So thoughts on this issue 1?
I think it's interesting just how, like I said, that time jump throws me, and then pushing the laboratory just into orbit in space,
Mm-hmm.
and then
Yeah.
here. Okay, this is another thing that kind of irks me in a way. Is the Lois and Clark relationship of just their friendship, kinship, anything with each other seems so like we've only been a few months, but it's been at least 10 years.
Yeah.
Or 8. I mean, because there's some time between Man of Steel 1 and 2, but from 2 on, that's where we're at, where he meets Lois, and the way they're talking, the way she like still is pissed that he stole the first Superman story from her.
Yeah,
This all feels like stuff that would be in that first year of them getting to know each other.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And even the stuff like with Lex. I mean, you're looking at some of the stuff, like it just feels like that Man of Steel time jump is so confusing because like this whole, like how he talks about it took him this long to be able to meet her for a couple of minutes to go jogging. Like it took you a decade, like
I know, but again, I think it's like that's the way Byrne writes it, where it's like, oh yeah, they haven't gotten together yet because she's been so angry about him getting that scoop for like 10 years, however many years it's been. It's just like, oh really?
She really holds a grudge, that Lois.
I guess, what I'm saying? Like I don't it's just the stuff like that because I'm such a continuity, like,
oh, me too. Yeah.
I love a good strong continuity.
Mhm.
Some stuff I can fuddle with because when you're writing these books, but then when like you're doing stuff like this, and can we also like ask, when did Lois become a redhead? Right now,
Yeah. Or like
because
Auburn or whatever that is. Yeah.
because this issue, she's like in Man of Steel, she was more brunette. In here, she's starting to get her. But then when we get to, I think, Adventures, she's full on like red.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the closer we get to like Death of Superman, it'll get like, she'll get more brunette, and it'll longer. But it takes them. I think it seems like it almost takes them a while to settle on a look for her.
Because
definitely.
We're still not into digital coloring yet,
Wow.
and I'm big when it comes to my comics. Like hair color is a big deal. Like Lana Lang is redhead. Lois Lane is a brunette or black hair. Okay. That's just, it's a visual thing, like to immediately recognize these characters. So the fact that here they're like tinkering with it, it makes me very angry.
Yeah, without any exposition, like Lois could have said, "Oh, I just felt like coloring my hair today," and that would have been all it would have taken to explain that difference in the look.
And I'm just saying, like, it really makes me mad because I don't know. I don't want to look at them like, oh, is Clark on a run with Lana? Sweet.
Yeah.
If
Who is that?
The pictures, and then all of a sudden I'm like reading, I'm like, oh, that's Lois. What's going on here?
Yeah.
So that's just me.
Yeah. I mean, besides that, I mean, some good Byrne art again in this, especially that first page of him just like crashing through that wall.
Yeah, the inks with him and with Terry Austin, it's a dream team. They're so good together. I loved the scenes where it was like Metallo's origin through his eyes. It was all with the green tint.
Yes.
When the scientist was talking about how he was putting them together and all this stuff, I love that. I remember when I read that for the first time as a kid, just thinking that was so cool. It was almost like an old Universal or like a Hammer horror movie, like something like that in a Superman comic book. I loved it.
I loved it because I love how you have the parallel, like Superman's talking
Mm,
on one, and then the other one's telling us his origin.
right. Yeah, I loved
Did you,
that.
did you guys read them like across, or did you go down and back down?
I
Um,
just read the whole. Yeah, I read across. Yeah.
trying to, did I read across this time? Yeah, but like stuff like this, if I read it a few times, sometimes, yeah, like if I read it across, next time I might read it up and down, see,
Mhm.
see how it flows and stuff. But
Yeah. I usually read it across.
this
It
one,
flows
yeah,
that way better.
but yeah, like Justin said, I think it was like like parallels, what Superman's saying, and then it's like
Yeah.
just the flashing back and forth.
Yeah, and I still chuckle at the panel where he breaks the old dude's neck. He's like, "I guess I don't need you anymore, do I, old man?" What? No. It's like all these scientists, they're always so shocked that these low lives that they get to experiment on eventually turn on them and kill them. It's like, what do you expect's going to happen? I mean, you get the worst scum of the earth to experiment and tinker on with your mad scientist experiments. What do you think they're going to do after they get all this power? Just be like, thanks, cool.
That's when
Yeah,
that's when you build in an off switch,
Right. Or have something be like, if my heart stops beating, then you explode, something like that. Yeah, a kill switch. But I didn't have any frame of reference for the original Metallo. I remembered him from the old 80s, the pre-crisis Who's Who. And I remembered he looked kind of weird. He was all like green and orange and stuff.
Yeah, the way that Jeff Johns brings back in his secret origins.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, not a fan of that.
Yeah. I did like this Terminator look for Metallo, though. I thought it was cool. I really liked that. Yeah.
I just thought it was interesting. We get this, what do you call it? Very looks like Ric Flair type,
Woo!
The
humanoid.
human skin. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's not really.
And I'm like, what's he wearing?
Yeah,
Yeah. Right. It does look like a wrestler's uniform. It looks like a wrestler's costume. Yeah. But yeah, I agree. The part with him taking the lab into space is bonkers. It's absolutely bonkers. I was reading this again. I was like, wait a minute, what?
And
What's
it's so funny how long it takes us to get back to this, because I think it's years later. It's what Burns gone from the books. I mean,
Yeah.
we get back to that lab, and it's not even like that much. I don't.
I
If
think it
it's
was
what I'm
the
thinking
Roger
about,
Stern, wasn't it? Yeah, he went.
might be,
Yeah.
but if it's by what the issue I'm thinking of, I mean, yeah, Burns long gone. We don't even spend that much time on it. It's just
Right. It's so funny. Yeah.
I just think Metallo's had a really weird history.
Mhm.
When you
Yeah.
think about, like, you're talking about the first one, and then you have this, and then even like, you guys remember like the Superboy TV series Metallo?
No.
oh
No.
Who
god,
just looked like they went to like Goodwill and found all those old computer parts and just like
Oh
glued it
no.
on and made a costume. And then
Ugh.
the
ah,
kind of Metallo they did on Lois and Clark was always weird. Like,
oh yeah,
and then like it's like weird because Metallo is such a simple character, and then I grew up, my main Metallo was thinking of the animated series. That was always like my default Metallo. And then Smallville comes along and gives us the reporter good guy Metallo turned bad John Corbett, and then Jeff John makes him like Sam Lane's dream son-in-law that turns bad. So it's like he's just one of those characters that we know but has such a weird history and look in him. What they're doing with him currently right now, where he looks like some sort of monstrous metal man.
oh yeah. Okay, in the comics, yeah, because Lex rebuilt him and stuff. Yeah,
Is that in the brand new current stuff that's
like
just come out.
Action Comics by Philip Kennedy Johnson. Yeah.
Oh, okay. I'm
Your,
behind.
your
on
buddy
that.
Philip Kennedy Johnson. Yeah.
I need to get caught up on that.
And again, this might be the first appearance in this continuity. Egomaniac Lex builds his building in the shape of an L. The entire
Yeah,
thing is
I know, right? Yeah.
L.
Oh man,
I love it. I love it.
The ultimate narcissist.
I
It's so
know.
funny. Yeah.
It's like that is like the biggest symbol to me of like this era of Lex. It's just that giant L-shaped building.
Yes. You can see this L from space.
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah, I love it.
But yeah, after the whole lab thing, yeah, that's most of what this basically Superman fighting Metallo in this bank. Metallo has him on the ropes, but then, all right, how do you guys feel about the, when Lex, all they show is like, Metallo standing over Superman, then all of a sudden you just get like a black blank panel, and then Metallo's just gone. Yeah, it's just like.
Could you just imagine a plane flying over with a giant magnet and just going off? Yeah. That's what I pictured in my head, just like dink.
And he's like, wee! Yeah, I know. It was kind of anticlimactic, wasn't it? Yeah, after that big battle, just to have it be, oh, he's gone.
Because they don't even mention what happened. Because Superman goes, "What happened?" And Lois is like, "I don't know. It happened so
I don't know.
Like, how fast was that?
Really?
After whatever movement, and it's like, I don't know what happened.
Hypersonic speeds. Yeah.
I just like all the exposition from the scientist about. I studied the stars, and 28 years ago something crashed, and I found this, and I researched in Kansas. I call it crypto. I mean, like, dang, dude, this is some hardcore exposition. Yeah. Like, this guy's figured it all out, because it always is interesting when we have these Superman stories that he's never encountered kryptonite, or like how far we are into his life, and he doesn't realize he's an alien. He has no history on himself. And here we are now. And it's like, this is where we're at. So I find it interesting because I'm like, once again, he's been Superman this long, and he's just now encountering kryptonite. I'm like, okay, all right. Like, I'm going with this. Okay.
I kind of like that they waited a little bit to put that in.
I mean, it is issue one.
They put it for the right, but as far as the timeline goes, it wasn't like in the miniseries that we saw, the Man of Steel miniseries. They didn't put that in one of those issues. I like that they waited for this, and to have the big exposition dump too with the scientist, with all the background. That was nice too, because actually this was like, if I remember right, this and Action Comics number 595, the one with the silver banshee. These two were my intro to Superman. Yeah, I had read a little bit of the pre-Crisis stuff, like I talked about in the last episode, and I had read most of the Crisis miniseries. But this is what really hooked me. This issue and that Action Comics one. Plus John Byrne. I love all this stuff. But yeah, I was definitely hooked from the beginning, and I collected both of those and adventures for years to come after. Yeah.
But yeah, this whole Metallo thing, it's just like a bad it's like a Twilight Zone episode. It's basically like scientist, puts this guy broken guy's brain in a robot body, and then the guy kills him.
Yeah, it is. It's like a Twilight Zone, or like an old Universal monster movie or something.
I do like that Lex is completely bald.
Yes.
There's
we're there. Yeah. That's it. Yeah.
Well, again, time jump.
Yeah. Yep.
All right. So, all right. Any other thoughts on this one, or should we go to the Adventures of Superman?
Let's do it.
Yeah.
Are we doing adventures or are we doing action?
It doesn't matter. What do you guys want to do next?
Oh, did you want to do the adventure one to break up the
John break up the burn? Yes, that's right.
That's what I thought we were doing. We're breaking up the burns.
Yeah.
Breaking up the burns. Yeah.
Breaking up the burn. All right. Adventures.
Yeah, and this one, Lois has full red hair in this one. You're right. Yep.
All right. Adventures of Superman 424 from January 1987. Oh, I love that I mean, the cover with him standing there with the eagle, but then they have like prem- premiere for what is it? Premiere issue. The adventure continue. The premiere.
Premiere.
424 on there. Premiere issue.
A little late for the premiere, don't you think?
I mean, it's kind of like it's a new title, but then it's like kept that same numbering, which
yeah.
once again, modern comics would never.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, this one, I think out of the three, I liked this one the best because this one has what I consider one of the best examples of who Lex Luthor really is in it.
Oh yeah. All right.
Yeah.
I was okay. So we were talking about Lois. I had to boot it up real quick because my app froze. The first panel, the way like the thought bubbles are, the little arrow is not drawn out to Lucy far enough, so it looks like it's just the redhead tech talking the whole time, and she says Lois in it. So I was like, okay, so all right, so Lois is, and then as I'm reading on, I'm like, wait a minute, Lois is the redhead. That's Lucy, and I'm like, okay, all right, okay, and like this whole accident thing, like we're just getting kind of dropped into this.
Yeah.
You know, it's like I was kind of like, okay, is this something I missed? Did this come from something?
Like I said, I really haven't read much of it, but I thought I saw somewhere that they might go into it more in like World of Metropolis or something, or
the miniseries. Yeah.
Maybe we should just do those.
Oh.
I know we're doing them in November, but I'm like, I feel like we're just going to keep referencing like,
I know.
yeah, maybe this happened here. Because there's Sam now. He's not General Lane yet, is he? He's still Dr. Sam Lane, isn't he? Because General Sam Lane doesn't come till like the late 90s or 2000s. Or
no, I think he. You know what? I think I don't know if he's a doctor. He's he might be. They might have him as like a retired general or some kind of military officer. Because I know it's certain. Was it like around the time of the wedding or something, or maybe before? I know he was like talking about the like Pa Kent and stuff. He's like, "Oh yeah, you served in the military too." He's like, "Oh, too bad that your son Clark, couldn't be a man." And it says like,
Yeah.
yeah,
which I was surprised because I was reading some issues from like within this year, and like he seems pretty nice to Clark, but then all of a sudden once him and Lois get engaged, all of a sudden he gets all cold on Clark.
of course.
Oh yeah,
It's cute when they're just dating because it's not really a big deal, and then all of a sudden it's, hey, you're taking my daughter.
Yes, that's my daughter.
All right, so yeah, Adventures of Superman 424, Man o' War. Writer Marv Wolfman, yes, not Marv Wolfman. Penciler Jerry Ordway. Inker Mike Mocklin. Colorist Tom Zayuko. Same colorist, so shouldn't he get the Lowe's hair color kind of down? Letterer John Costanza again.
El Costanza.
Yeah, and editor Andrew Helfer. Same editor. Come on. Crack down on these guys. Los Angeles. Oh, this is the first appearance, right? Yeah, Los Angeles gossip columnist Catherine Cat Grant moves to Metropolis and begins working on the Daily Planet Sunday supplemental. She instantly becomes enamored with her co-worker Clark Kent. Meanwhile, Kwarki nationalists acquire a high-tech battle tank and use it to stage several terrorist attacks throughout Metropolis, including bombing City Hall. Superman flies in and makes quick work of the tank. The identities of the nationalists are unknown, as is the means by which they came upon the technology. Lois Lane's mother, Eleanor, is dying from radiation sickness that she acquired during a chemical explosion at her employer, LexChem. Lex Luthor offers Lois a serum that Eleanor must take monthly to survive in exchange for Lois going to dinner with him. What Lois doesn't know is that Luthor staged the chemical accident and is using Lois's dying mother as a bartering tool by which to control her.
Not cool, man.
No.
That's what I'm talking about. That's
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And when I pull it up in here and talk about that whole scene where after Lois leaves, what Lex says,
Yeah,
that's
his
a
whole
picture.
monologue at the end. Yeah,
Yes, that is a picture perfect example of who Lex Luthor is.
Mhm.
definitely. I agree. And it's a great way to close this issue too.
Oh,
Yes.
Because it's like, oh man, what's he gonna do next? If he's capable of doing this, what's he gonna do next?
Oh, stay tuned next episode for Superman #2. Oh, he pulls some crap.
Oh, he does. Yeah.
Mhm.
Now, like I said, I like this one because of that. But I also find what I find is interesting is the whole first meeting of Clark Kent and Cat Grant here.
Yes.
Mm.
Like all the thought bubbles of, oh my gosh, he's gorgeous. She's
Mhm.
beautiful. Is she single? Okay,
Yeah.
does that line up to the monologue we read last issue with him running with Lois?
I know that's again.
You know what I'm saying?
It's a different writer, but I know. But it's like, oh yeah, he's all like trying to get with Lois, but then it's like, oh hey, Cat Grant.
Oh, wow. Well, I
And
think
then-
it also was because Lois was always so off-putting and she was like not interested in Clark. But then you get somebody like Kat that's very visibly interested in Clark. It's like, oh wow, somebody actually finds me attractive for once. Cool.
Um, yeah. But I was looking for the where like you two know each other. You could say we've taken a trip together. Like, yeah.
Yeah.
But
Good
what I
stuff,
think is
good
interesting
stuff.
when she drops the line, so that's Clark Kent. His last novel was Scrumptious. So you remember,
Yeah.
like his
He's
novel
written some
writing.
books already, yeah. Yeah.
So that was something that came up like I remember when they first did that. Like Clark was writing novels and stuff. So I just little things like that. I'm kind of just picking up on like,
Yeah.
okay, all right. When did this happen? You know, like
Yeah, I know they'll in this era they'll bring it up a few times that he's like a novelist too. But yeah, it's I guess they just pull it out whenever they want. But yeah, not only is it the first appearance of Cat Grant, it's also the first appearance of Professor Emil Hamilton.
That's true. I love that part too, where he gets Clark at the shield and then shoots at him. It's like, what are you doing?
it's great.
Yeah.
I just like how Clark and Cat go off on the adventure together,
Yes. Yeah.
and you know how Clark's like, "Hey, I think I saw some rubble moving over there, and somebody help that man. Like,
Yeah.
check it out."
I know that's weird because it's like we're that at that point where he's like, oh yeah, there's someone under the rubble, and they're just like, yeah, we'll get. It seems like they're just like, yeah, we'll get there, and I'm like, wouldn't he swoop back in as Superman if there was people trapped under there and if people weren't like going to dig them out? I'm like,
Because he says something like, "I don't like my microscopic vision is picking up there are grappler marks in the stone.
yeah,
The collapse wasn't caused by an ordinary explosion." To me, that like here, Cat, this is where you need to go. I have something to do, and he runs off.
yeah, they just like jump in the car and drive away, and I'm just like, wait, I'm like, wouldn't Clark
Well-
stick around to make sure someone else was digging those people out or do it himself?
Maybe he's just that interested in the cat.
Yeah. Well, he had every faith in the rescue forces. Yeah.
Cat Grant, you know where I'm going, right, Justin?
Superior puss.
Maybe he likes blondes better. Who knows?
Oh, maybe.
But I mean, Lois never did dye her hair blonde. At least that. Well, I mean,
Well,
on Smallville, she started a blonde and then slowly just went.
Mm-hmm. Well,
So,
that escalated quickly.
yes, good job.
Tyler, one of my favorite games. I play drops and see if I can get Justin to fall out of his chair.
It's gonna happen one of these days. You
I
know
know. Which drop would be, kids?
That's awesome.
All right. I like this panel here.
Oh,
Him
it's
flying off. Yeah.
That's gorgeous. Yeah. Can we talk about the art? This is the art team from one of my most beloved comic books, All Star Squadron. From the early
Oh
80s.
yeah.
Jerry Ordway and Mike McClellan, and I think they do great stuff together. And yeah, that panel is gorgeous. The whole fight scene with the tank and all that stuff was excellent. Even though Lois's hair looks weird, she looks good. Like all the characters look great in this.
Mhm.
Beautiful.
My only
artwork.
complaint is the red hair on Lois, but that's just
Yeah,
me.
I don't get that either. It's so
I
weird.
always like this. Like it's hard to see, but the bottom of this page, like the ghosting effect of like showing the super
Yes.
speed.
And there was another panel too that was really great. It was so simple too. It was of Superman in the rubble, and it showed him like lifting a bunch of the debris, and just the way that Jerry Ordway drew his cape kind of draped over his leg as he was stretching
Yeah,
and stuff. It was so simple, but it looked so cool and so realistic. I love it. It's great.
I even like just this part of like Superman stopping to kind of talk with the police a little. Like,
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, Inspector Henderson, and yeah.
Yeah, that definitely set the tone of what we'd see to come with him working with the police. Yeah, I like that too.
It almost reminds me of like a George Reeves, like George Reeves from the 50s and stuff. I could,
Mm.
the police commissioner and their
Mhm.
inspector.
I'm in the middle of
Yeah.
watching and everything. Season 1 of the Adventures of Superman.
Mm.
So it is kind of neat to be watching that and then starting to read this as well.
Do
Yeah, that's cool.
do you have that somewhere, or do they stream that anywhere?
Nope, it is not streaming.
Oh,
I have all 6 seasons on DVD.
Oh,
I'm sure. I was
nice.
gonna say, no matter what the answer for the streaming was, I'm sure he probably has that on
Yeah,
DVD.
I'm just gonna throw a tangent here. My hope is that in 2025, when they start doing the push for the new Superman movie,
Mm.
we're gonna get a re-release of like a Blu-ray edition of the George Reeves series and just like a remastered version and all stuff like that coming back out because and I've also said this before, like I miss DC Universe, the app when it was DC Universe because I liked that I could stream Wonder Woman, Superboy, The Adventures of Superman, the stuff like that was I
all
found
the
so
animated
fascinating.
stuff. Yeah.
Well, the stuff they never put on Max or HBO Max. The old Superman stuff that I had never really had a chance to sit down and watch because it took me a while to collect all the DVDs because some of the prices on eBay were ridiculous,
Oh,
so
I
I had
bet.
to try to
Yeah.
find them and stuff like that. So I mean, it was just I miss being able to do that because now like I'm watching it on DVD, which is fine, but it was so nice when I could stream stuff because then I could watch it at work, on a break, sitting in the car
Right.
waiting on Jania or whatever.
Right.
That's my little tangent.
Oh, but yeah, speaking of Blu-rays and stuff, did you see they're re-releasing next year for the 30th anniversary Batman Mask of the Phantasm?
Yes.
Ooh, very
In
nice.
4K.
Yeah, 4K. Yeah.
And I'm debating what to buy it or not. And I say that because I was thinking about buying the Batman the Animated Series in Blu-ray.
Yeah.
And on the Blu-ray set, it comes with Sub-Zero and Mask of the Phantasm.
Ooh. I was gonna say,
okay.
I just have it on DVD. Yeah. I'm gonna have to.
And
Yeah, I have all the DVDs too. Yeah.
but the other thing is that I'm kind of wrestling with is part of me prefers the DVD because the way that they did it on the dark black paper, the darkness was part of it. And then when they're trying to brighten it,
Yeah.
Now Superman the Animated Series is different.
Yes.
And then the
That
latter
should be
seasons of
clearer and brighter.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
but that those because I have the whole DVD set too, but like those 3 volumes DVD of when it was just Batman the Animated Series, I actually prefer the DVD because it's the darker grittierness. So that's my dilemma. Do I buy the Blu-ray set or do I just buy Mask of the Phantasm on 4K?
In my rant, next year re-release Mask of the Phantasm in theaters. I never got to see it in theaters.
Yeah.
Dude,
in theaters.
That would be great.
Last September, this past September in 2022. Yeah, sorry. Cinemark did a thing for Batman Day. They had Mask of the Phantasm, Batman 89, and Batman Returns. And me and Solomon, my buddy Brian, did all 3. Sayla did
nice.
Mask of the Phantasm with us. And then my sister-in-law picked her up. But Solomon sat through all 3 with us.
Nice.
So we just spent the day at the movie and did that for
That's awesome.
Because I saw Mask of the Phantasm when it was on its first release. And I'll tell you what, guys, right now, one of the best experiences in the theaters because my kids did not see the reveal coming
Oh,
on the Phantasm, I turn and I just watch their faces. And Sayla does this. Like she pops out, that she looks at me, and Solomon's like wide-eyed. It was great.
I love it.
Awesome.
nice.
Yeah.
But yeah, I saw the other ones I saw all the Keaton ones in the theater. But yeah, I did not see Mask of the Phantasm in the theaters. I want that experience.
It's one of those memories that I didn't realize how short it was in the theater. But
yeah.
I just remember we asked my dad, "Can we go to the movies?" And my dad was like, "What do you want to see?" I wanted Mask of the Phantasm. My brother wanted like Beethoven something, like one of those.
one of the dog movies.
Yeah, and I was like, I talked him into because my dad always liked Batman animated series, so we all went and saw Mask of the Phantasm, and we all loved it.
Yeah.
So like it was years later that I realized it wasn't in theaters that long.
No.
That we lucked out in a short window to be able to actually see it.
It came out like around Christmas time, I think.
Yeah.
And then
It wasn't even a month, right? It was gone. Yeah.
Yeah, because I remember being all mad I didn't see it. Then the minute I saw it on VHS, I'm like, yes, I must have this.
Yeah. And then it's like, oh man, this would have been so cool to watch on the big screen.
Oh, yeah.
I remember thinking that too when I watched it on VHS. I was like, I love it, but
oh yeah,
I want to see it on the big screen.
Again, I want that experience with my son because like a few years ago when they re-released the Transformers movie in the theater, I took him to see that. Oh,
yeah,
it was
so
perfect.
cool.
It was perfect. I saw it when I was 8. I was traumatized by the death, and then I told him
the death of Optimus
he was
Prime.
8. Yes.
Keep the legacy going. Yeah,
I'm so mad, but I'm hoping that they do something. I don't know what they would do, but something similar. Like even if they put Batman Forever and Batman and Robin back in theaters, it would be fun to take the kids to go see them.
Oh,
no. The kids love them though. That's the thing.
Yeah, I know.
Like my kids enjoy them because they are more kid accessible.
Right.
So it would just be fun to have that experience.
Yeah, definitely.
One of the 50 things John Glover plays a DC villain in.
Oh my gosh. The dude's DC resume is massive.
You could build your own Legion of Doom just with John Glover's.
That would be awesome. Do you ever see the episode of Justice League Action where the Joker and the Trickster team up and kidnap Mark Hamill? So it's them. It's them in a car, and it's the Trickster, voiced by Mark Hamill, the Joker, voiced by Mark Hamill, and Mark Hamill, voiced by Mark Hamill. And they're talking.
That's brilliant. I love it.
Well, that's the only other guy who could do like his own multiverse, Mark Hamill.
Totally.
Oh yeah, that's the other thing. Superman #9 coming up in a few episodes. We get a visitor from Gotham, and it's not Batman. Superman #9, kids.
Things are gonna get crazy.
Oh, I know the last thing I wanted to say about this issue, dating it for all time when Superman's standing on top of the board outside, like the movie theater.
Stallone.
You can kind of make out the letters just enough that you know what it says. Stallone is Cobra.
Cobra, yeah.
And Hannah and her sisters. But I'm just like, Stallone, Cobra.
Hold on. This came out in what year? 87, right?
Yeah. Cover date's January 87. Yeah.
So Cobra is a release of Gollum and Globus. Who did Superman 4?
Yes.
Canon Films.
Yeah.
It's a Canon Films. So I'm thinking like Superman 4 is coming out. Like it's kind of a hint, like promoting another canon film inside the comic. As we're approaching the next film.
It would have been even funnier if they just on the billboard don't put Superman, but just put the Quest for Peace on there or something.
Yeah, right.
That would be cool. But like you said, the last page on this is Lex thinking about how his whole plan about getting Lois to be right where he wants him because she accepted my serum without once questioning just how I managed to on this miracle so quickly. She never even suspected I caused her mother's accident in the first place, or that I could have created a single-use serum.
I could have given her a one-time cure and she would have been done with it, but no.
Months in and months out, Lois Lane will be forced to gratefully accept my helping hand, and that is why I've already won. I was just like, that
Yeah.
is Lex Luthor.
Yeah, that's a good villain right there.
That plus he's a little too chummy with the help.
Lex
Yeah,
Luthor in the 80s.
he's got a different secretary in every issue.
That's how he rolls, man.
Well, this is like kind of like his island or whatever. So the other one from Superman 1 was in the sky, the L skyscraper.
right.
Yeah. So
Yes. Yeah.
He's got, you know how like sailors had like a lady in every port?
that's what I was gonna say.
He's got a special lady in every office
got a
around the world.
got a secretary in every business holding.
Yeah.
All right. So anything else on this, or should we get to that Action Comics?
Yeah,
Let's get to the action.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Love
like
this one.
I like with this one. Once again, it's like, oh, first new issue. It's like, okay, but
Premiere
first-
issue.
yeah, for the next,
First all new Superman as he's holding Cyborg's arm with Donna Troy in his hand and Beast Boy on the ground.
exactly. But I like for the next couple months at least, Action is kind of like a team up book now. It's like it's basically a new Superman team up book.
Yeah, I like that too.
Action's always, it has such an interesting history of doing stuff like that.
Mhm.
Of being this almost kind of, it's a Superman book, but it's also like has a lot of different things that they do with it.
Yeah, kind of like an anthology too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, so Action Comics number 584 from January 1987. Of course, Squatter. Writer and penciler once again, John Byrne. Inker Dick Giordano. Colors Tom Zucchio. Letterer John Costanza. And editor.
Costanza.
So Tom and John, man, colored and lettered all three Superman books this month, man.
They're working overtime.
Mhm.
I like the credits to this where it says John Byrne, storyteller, Dick G, and embellisher.
Yes.
Very fancy.
I just thought that was kind of cool.
I
I really love the Cyborg shirt rip. Like just Cyborg.
Yep.
Yes.
Action.
And I just can't help but reading this in Carrie Payton's voice.
Oh yeah. Booyah.
Because I watch so much Teen Titans Go with my kids. Like I just can't help but hear that Cyborg in my head.
Superman is seen going on a destructive rampage, gloating about the power he wields in his hands. Cyborg of the Teen Titans tries to confront Superman, but loses some cybernetic limbs in the process. He manages to call Changeling and Wonder Girl for help. They arrive, but Superman easily handles them. Jericho arrives and locks eyes with Superman, allowing him to enter his body in order to keep him under check. A handicapped man named David Gunderson arrives, claiming to be Superman. He reveals that he is Superman and that David Gunderson has used a mind-swapping invention to switch his mind with Gunderson's and locked him up in the scientist's house. Superman, however, managed to escape. The group flies back to Gunderson's home and Superman activates the machine again, pointing his mind and Gunderson's back into their original bodies. David Gunderson is disappointed that he is now trapped in a handicapped body again, but Superman points out that the only thing that keeps him handicapped compared to similar people like Jericho is his mind. And once again, modern comics, this would have been more than one issue.
Yeah, at least 3.
Yeah.
What I like about this issue is I could see this kind of being an episode of some sort of Superman show. It's a nice little self-contained story that has the kind of plot beat where you start off with the cold opening of Superman just like destroying something,
right?
And then like maybe you go back, or you just open up, and then like other heroes are showing up, and you're trying to figure out what's going on, and
or say like when the father of a certain someone he knows switches bodies with him.
Good old Smallville.
Smallville, yes.
Of course. That but it would have been like a really cool, I mean, almost like a really good, like before everything ended, like crossover series, or a crossover episode of like a 2-part arc or something where you're trying to figure out what Superman's doing. You get a couple of other heroes from other shows that show up trying to help out, like especially when Superman's going crazy, and then all of a sudden, boom, the Flash is there, or something. It's just a nice little like action-packed, self-contained story where Cyborg got his butt whipped.
He did.
No, yeah.
Phil, when you answer the phone, do you like to make a little rhyme like Garfield did here? Feeling trouble, and at the end of your rope, well, you called us, so you're no dope. That's it. That's just Phil answering the phone.
Not on Monday. Not on Mondays.
Not on my. Got it. Makes sense. Makes sense.
Oh, look. I was looking at one of the notes. It said Gunderson appeared in a flashback in Adventures 424, but I didn't think there was a flashback to Gunderson, unless that was the wrong issue number they put down. But yeah, the notes on this.
I remember him on one of the things we read. I think it was in Man of Steel about him answering the phone or something. That's reference where he says, "I will contact Superman for you, Mr. Gunderson."
Oh, maybe. Okay.
That's all I remember is like him on the phone.
Okay.
Okay.
Because I just remember like thinking like, wow, people are contacting Clark Kent to get a hold of Superman for him. But yeah, that wasn't one of the issues we read. That's really all I know. But I like here on page 8, I always love they don't fix it when there's like an error in coloring. If you look at the front panel where his whole symbol is yellow.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
And I'm just like, that's cool. I'm like, that actually kind of looks neat. You know, I'm sitting here looking at this like, I can see that. I'm like, yeah, that's cool.
Oh yeah, anytime you get like that weird coloring like mistake in like older comics, where it's like all of a sudden maybe their hand's the same color as the rest of their sleeve or something.
Right, yeah. Or everything in the background is the same color. The people and the buildings and everything. Yeah.
I just love how like the brightness of just this page of Donna Troy battling Superman, just how much bright red is there. Just
that's a great battle too between the two of them. I think that was my
is.
favorite part of this issue, seeing those two fight.
When she hits him with the car.
Yeah. Yeah.
She's like, he didn't even try to get out of the way. I drove him to the ground like a tent.
Yeah. And then she wraps him up with the lasso. It was excellent.
Can I just say, like, Jericho's like outfit is just weird.
It's like, it's very 80s. Yeah.
Is it clothes? Is it a superhero suit? Like,
it's a little of both.
I know he's just like
there's some spandex there. It's almost like an aerobics outfit.
Yeah, I was like, is he hanging out with Richard Simmons? Like, this is the 80s, right?
Goes with the sideburns.
Yeah,
it's true.
Definitely.
But yeah, I mean, again, it's only one issue, but it's like, I don't know, does anyone think it get wrapped up kind of quickly once Jericho shows up?
Yeah.
Yeah, because I feel like the this issue would end, part 1 would like end with like the Donna Troy and Superman battle. Then issue 2 would start with like Jericho. Go on, and like you'd have Jericho, and then it would end like the end with cliffhanger was there'd be a little bit more in it, and then the last part would be the guy, like, because we'd have a whole bunch about this guy in a basement getting free and then getting in a cab, and we're all like, we're cutting to this guy,
right.
There'd be more battle here.
Yeah, this would easily be 3 issues. Yeah,
and then it ends with the guy like, I'm Superman, and then the next issue would pick up with the juxtaposition, all them talking about getting the call, showing up to help, getting caught.
Yeah, or you'd see like him trying to do stuff with, trying to do the weird stuff with other heroes, and then who has to stop him.
Batman,
right?
My favorite character,
of course. It was wrapped up really simply, though. I mean, they just walk into the room and then flip the switch, and then that's it. There was nothing.
But it just seems like, Jericho just like walks up, locks eye contact, takes over the body. I was figuring for something more like, like Dawn is like has to hold him down or something. So
because there's all the talk about he's an alien physiology. Will you be able to hold him? It might be different. And you're like, he's talking about not being able to. And even when they're like, there's no conversation like, when we switch our minds back, will Jericho need to be out of the body? Like, I was thinking like Jericho would have to jump out of the body right before they flipped him back, or else he would be caught or something.
Oh yeah.
And So I was just like, okay, and then that's not a thing. But my favorite is on the second to the last page when they're going back, is that last panel where like Superman looks like he's disappearing by how much words there are.
Yes.
I was just looking at that. Yeah,
His whole speech he's given. I'm just like,
about Helen Keller and all that. Yeah, you could just see you could barely see his face.
There's so many word bubbles in there. I thought it had like Chris Claremont took over or something.
I always, there's that one stand-up comedian who did like the Helen Keller thing. It was like, do we even know if Helen Keller knew what she was talking about, or was just like it was her worker that was writing everything, saying it was Helen? It's like, how do we really know what she knows? And I was like, trying to remember what stand-up comedian that was. So like when he's like, Helen Keller was a great author, like that was in my head. Then the Bo Burnham Helen Keller was the greatest woman song. If you don't know that song, you should look it up. It's a classic. But yeah, and then Lex at the end.
Yeah, that last conversation, Lex is like, "Oh, Kent always gets the best Superman stories. There must be some connection."
And I'm like, and it's been, Kent's been doing this for 10 years.
Yeah,
it's just now like Kent always gets the Superman stories. I wonder why.
Yeah, I know. Lex must be one of the smartest men in the world. It's like,
Is he though?
I don't know. Superman exonerated though. Didn't even have to have we would have had at least a couple pages of like Superman trying to explain to the press and taking credit and apologizing, and like, this man's going to prison. It was his invention, and then he has to destroy the invention so it never happens again. Why and then we'd have to get a page or two of Superman fixing the city, and apologizing to everyone.
Oh yeah, like putting the Leaning Tower of Pisa back. Yeah.
And then we get Lex with another secretary, a French one. The Daily Planet as a front page story about the battle between Superman and the Teen Titans.
This makes sense because he's in France, so I just expect, like we said, a gal in every port.
That's right. He's got a woman in every office waiting for him.
Hey man, you're a rich single man. Oh, that was the funny thing from Man of Steel when Lex or Lois is like, "What, you were trying to make me wife 7, wife 8?" She's like, "I've lost track."
I know. I was like, oh, so Lex has been married quite a few times. How's he put does he it's like Henry VIII? Does he kid? Like,
that was my thought.
Is there alimony? Is there prenups? Like, he's the king of the prenup,
Oh, his ex-wife Allie Money.
Oh. Yeah, but that doesn't start with an L, so I don't know if it would work.
Yeah,
that's like his one thing about when he marries a woman. Like, you're gonna have to change your name to start with an L.
Yes.
See, if he didn't have all his ex-wives, he'd have 2 L-shaped buildings.
But nowadays, like, it can't be LL. He'd have to turn one backwards to make it cool, like reverse it.
Oh, yeah.
Be like this.
Yes.
That would be his 2 buildings looking at each other.
Yeah.
Oh, he gets busy because he has all this crap with Lois, but later on we're gonna find out he has a history with Perry White and his life. Yeah.
That's some dark stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Like when it gets into like that, yeah. That's in the 90s though, isn't it? Crossed into the 90s, I think.
This is a couple years, maybe a couple years from now.
Yeah. It's before the death. I know that. So
yeah, I know, yeah.
Maybe 91, 92.
Yeah, 91. Yeah. Oh yeah. There's so much stuff coming, kids.
Yeah.
Blaze Satanis War.
Yes. I was just thinking about the Last Son of Krypton story, which is one of my favorites. Love that one.
The Eradicator.
Yeah. That's good stuff.
I'm looking forward to just, like as we're doing this, just it's putting little things together and just making me think like, what was the point of the Man of Steel book? like
you got to Tyler, oh my God. You got a Superman book like every week pretty much then.
Yeah.
Oh, I know.
4 a month, yeah.
Every week, kid.
That's good. I mean, I think it's kind of, especially when you get around death, how they did it and stuff, but
Mhm.
I think it's sweet. 4 Superman titles, you know.
Oh yeah, I was loving it as a kid for sure. Yeah.
Oh, you get the triangle number.
I loved it when they there for a while during Rebirth when they went back and they did Action and Superman bi-weekly. So every month you were like Superman Action, Superman Action.
Mhm.
You were like, you know, getting your books, and now they've started to kind of spread out the Superman. You know, we have basically kind of like 4 titles, I guess. You have Action, Superman, John Kent, Superman, and now Steelworks.
Mm-hmm.
So it's kind of
Oh,
getting back to almost being like 4
I forgot
super
about
titles a month.
Steelworks. Yeah.
Yeah.
Steelworks, written by the voice actor who did Steel, among other things, Michael Dorn. Yes, that Michael Dorn from
Oh,
Star Trek.
nice.
Yeah,
Love it. I'm gonna have to check that one out.
that's the interview I'd love to get. Be like, let's talk some Steelworks. And oh yeah, by the way, that the 50 Star Trek things you've been in, let's talk about that.
Yeah. That would be an awesome interview. I'd love that.
It's the man who's probably been in more Star Trek than anyone alive, including Shatner. Yeah, let's talk.
Yeah. It's true.
All right.
I'm
All
enjoying
right.
it.
Yeah. All right. Any final thoughts on any of these issues?
No, I think the Action Comics one was the one that I liked the least, just because I thought that the story was kind of the flimsiest.
It was
But
very
for Sin,
simple. It wasn't.
yeah, it was
Yeah.
simple.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And maybe
Yeah.
I in a way I like that because I don't feel like I'm tied up with the problems of like the continuity of just the time
Mhm.
jump we hit with the other 2 that we talked
Right.
about. But I will say it's probably my favorite art out of the 3.
Yeah, the art is excellent for
The art
sure.
and the color is
Yeah.
I like better than the other 2.
I was disappointed too because I was hoping to see some of the other Teen Titans. Like, I would have loved to have seen Raven try to hit Superman with one of her psychic whammies. You know, when he
See,
was
and that's how we expand this to multiple
right.
issues.
Yeah, I think.
Which is-
Yeah, I think that's my gripe. I think I would have liked this had been a 2-part story with some type of cliffhanger in the middle, like we were
Yeah.
talking about.
But I bet the reason they left her out is that could have made the story even shorter though, because he is susceptible to magic. And
True. Yeah, that's true. She would have taken him out. Yeah, right.
Nah,
Yeah.
she'd come in and then he'd be one of those where she comes in and then he just heat visions her and takes her out like that. And they're like, oh,
Yeah.
dang, he took out her
Oops.
big gun. All right, what do we do now?
Now we hit him with a big green elephant.
Yeah.
No, forget Batman. Who brings him down? Yeah, Nightwing. General Nightwing rallies the troops.
That's right. Yeah, we didn't see Nightwing either. Yeah. Or Starfire.
Oh, Starfire. Yeah, man.
Mm.
Starfire could have.
That would have been cool to see
Yeah.
Starfire and Superman's heat vision squaring off with the blasts. Yeah.
Yeah. At least I just at least like one of those things of like when they got the alert from Vic Stone, like Donna Troy's running out, she's like, get everybody. And like you just have like Garfield trying to like send out a distress signal, like we have to get everybody down here. Like at least I don't know, some dialogue. Where's Raven? Where's Nightwing?
Yeah.
Where's Starfire? Why can't we get through? You know?
Yeah.
It could have
Where's
easily been
Nightwing?
at least a 3-issue
Mhm.
3-issue arc.
Oh yeah, that would have been interesting just to see Dawn and Troy and Starfire just trying to outmuscle him. You know, just physically overpower him.
Yeah, or Nightwing trying to like strategize and think about what trying to like get them to work as a team, and yeah.
Call him Batman. Batman goes, I told you he was dangerous.
I told you that in another reality we might be friends.
Until he acts like a dick like this and starts smashing buildings.
Yeah, yeah. That's what insurance is for.
Yeah, of course.
All right. So yes, next 2 weeks, kids. Yeah, Kristen will be back. Next week we'll cover all the new Nightwing books. Like by the time you hear this, yeah, Night Terrors Nightwing 2 will be out. World's Finest Teen Titans number 2 will be out. Oh, I read Night Terrors Titans number 1 today. No Nightwing in it, so I'm kind of disappointed. in that.
Oh, that's too bad.
I haven't read it yet.
Yeah, no Nightwing. Probably because he's just stuck in a dream in the book. So, All right. And then, in 2 weeks, we'll cover a classic arc, Nightwing 142 through 146. I think that's Tomasi. Yeah. So, but then in 3 weeks, we'll be back here, kids. We'll do Superman #2, Adventures of Superman 425, and Action 585. Followed up the following week by Superman 3, Adventures of Superman 426, and Action 586. So yeah, it'll go like that. We'll be in a pattern like that for a while, kids. But then
Sounds fun.
Eventually we get art, like, so Action might have a 2-issue arc, or Adventures might have a 2 or 3 issue arc. But yeah, right now we're just doing one, and one. So.
And eventually they'll do stories that cover all of the books.
Yeah, or go through all the books. Yeah.
Yeah.
When he goes
And
to
eventually
space.
Phil will grow his mullet.
Better try to electrocute myself, like I said. I can't wait till we get the Gangbuster.
Oh yeah.
Especially the second Gangbuster.
That's true.
It's gonna be fun. It's gonna be a good time.
Oh yeah, there's so much stuff in this 90s stuff, kids. Again, this is like a golden era. Like I said, like that's the other thing with, I feel like some of the weakness of modern comics is like back in like the 90s, like I swear the Superman books and then over at Marvel, the Spider-Man books had like the best like supporting cast of characters.
Mhm. Yeah.
I feel like they're trying to bring that back, but like even in this, like Detective Henderson,
Yeah.
That's a
Mhm.
really good kind of liaison character, like, or Dan Turpin or Maggie Sawyer.
Oh yeah.
Or
Once we
Just
get,
those
Cat-
characters that seem to have been absent for a while.
oh yeah.
Or
Once,
Cat Grant,
yeah.
a romantic interest. Yeah, definitely.
Or a
Just-
figure will eventually get to Bibbo.
Bibbo.
I like Bibbo, but it's just
I love Bibbo. Yeah.
how they depict him. Sometimes I feel I don't like.
favorite.
I'm not a fan of the depiction, but sometimes I
Mhm.
really do like the way they do Bibbo.
Yeah.
Oh, wait till that Krypton that story you're with the Eradicator you mentioned, Justin. Is that, I think that the one where Bibbo and Lobo get drunk?
Lobo, yes. And with one of the most hilarious Superman covers ever, where Lobo's swinging around Superman by the cape and throwing him into the side of the Fortress of Solitude. It's hilarious.
It's the Eradicator's trying to take him over. All right, so yes, all right, kids, yes, lots of good stuff coming. So yes, send us your thoughts, or heck, like I said, send us your thoughts on what we covered last episode and this episode. We'll read it on a future episode. Email us, CapesandLunatics@gmail.com, or call the voicemail 614-382-2737. That's 614-38-CAPES. And remember, you can find all things Capes and Lunatics, episodes, social media, merchandise, the Patreon. Once again,
Yes.
please subscribe. Little Hellfire's Drunken Rants on Heroes Reborn are up there. 3 of the 4 are already up there. So check it out. So find everything all in one place. That's tubespace.io/Capes and Lunatics Podcast Network. That's tubespace.io/Capes and Lunatics Podcast Network. All right. I'll switch it up this time. Justin, you're here 2 weeks out of the month. You're on We Are the Night, the Batman podcast, the last week of every month. You're on Marvel Tales every week with me. And of course, you're with that maniac Russell on Gamma Charge. Tell us about Gamma Charge.
Yes, Gamma Charge, the strongest podcast there is available to listen to twice a month. We cover everything to do with the Hulk and She-Hulk, as well as the new series by Philip Kennedy Johnson that just started. Actually, number 2 just came out. So if you haven't checked that out, do read it. It's amazing. And also, we co-host with our pal Ray, Predator and Prey, a Yocha podcast, where we talk about everything to do with Fox's Predator in comic books, movies, action figures, and more. Russell and I have another project which is almost out, and I'll announce more about that after we have a first episode to talk about. And last but not least, the Lost Library of Legends is almost ready. I'm gonna have to change the date to August instead of July, but it's almost here. I promise.
Scream at.
And I'll never get sick of the joke Predator and P-Ray. because Ray's on
Free Ray. Yeah.
P-Ray. All right, kids. And if you want more Tyler Patrick talking Superman and the DC Universe, I know a show called The Krypton Report you can check out. Tyler, tell us about that, the show you do with Mr. James Cole.
That's right, Mr. James Cole. We do the Krypton Report where we talk all things Kryptonian, Superman, and DC Comics. Our last episode just dropped, and what we did was a kind of round group chat about making our list of what we wish McFarlane would put out as our figures, which was really awesome. We each picked 10, our top 10. There's about 6 of us, figures that we want, and there was a lot of really good Lantern stuff. We realized that McFarlane has yet to really mine the Lantern section of the DC Comics. So it was a really good time. And it's fun just kind of get together, just a bunch of guys kind of hanging out feel. So that was fun. But find us at Krypton Report everywhere.
I'm tired of knowing everything.
Yeah, it's the burden that Phil has.
No, that's you.
I'm tired of knowing everything.
All right, kids. Thank you for joining us. Again, get your Nightwing fix next 2 weeks, and then these boys will be back. We'll find out what dastardly plot Lex has up his sleeve for us in Superman #2.
If a suspicion it's going to involve cigars.
Whoa! Okay, Clinton.
Nice.
Nah, something gets laid right at Lex Luthor's feet, and he's like, nah, that can't be it. So,
No, it can't be that easy.
no! So yeah, come back. Join us for more fun. Join us every time for truth, justice, and the podcast way.